In the world of construction, every project is a fingerprint. No two are exactly alike. Because of this, the work of a civil engineer isn't just a commodity you buy off a shelf. It requires a high degree of professional autonomy and specialized judgment. Today, we're diving into Chapter 5 of our professional practice, how clients actually choose the right engineer for the job. From reputation to the two-envelope system, let's break down the rules of the game. The very first move for a client isn't looking at prices, it's defining the scope of work. You can't hire a specialist if you don't know what you're building. For the private sector, selection boils down to 5 critical factors. These are the first, reputation. What do previous clients say? Second, PRC validity. Is the license current and active? Third, expertise. Do they have the specific skills for this project? Fourth, staffing. Can they put a qualified person on site or are they spread too thin? And lastly, resources. Do they have the financial backing to finish the assignment? Now, if you're working on government projects, it's a different ballgame. Procurement is strictly governed by Executive Order 164 and PD 1594. These ensure that public funds are spent through a transparent, regulated process. In large organizations, we don't leave the choice to just one person, we form a selection committee. Big organizations don't leave this to one person. They form a selection committee, usually of 3 people. Crucially, at least one member must be a professional civil engineer. Why? Because a non-engineer might be impressed by a fancy 3D render, while the engineer on the panel will look at the structural logic of the proposal. This committee must be objective. They are the gatekeepers against political or internal pressure. Now, let's focus on the gold standard of hiring, qualifications-based selection, or QBS. The philosophy here is simple. If you were undergoing heart surgery, would you want the cheapest surgeon or the most qualified one? In civil engineering, where public safety is at stake, we choose based on competence first. Side note, if a client already has a long-standing, satisfactory relationship with an engineer, some of these steps can be skipped. But for new projects, we follow this 11-step roadmap. Step 1. The call. The client issues a statement of the project's nature and the services required. This usually comes in 2 forms. The RFQ request for qualifications. This is like a scouting report. The client asks for your general experience in a specific field, say, bridge design. The RFP request for proposal. This is more specific. The client has a project and wants to know your specific plan for that project. Step 2. The internal budget. Before even talking to an engineer, the client must prepare an expected budget. They need to know what they can afford. Step 3. The evaluation. The client reviews the statements submitted. From a pile of many, they select the best 3 civil engineers or firms. This is your shortlist. Step 4. Correspondence. The client sends a detailed project description to those top 3 firms. This includes the scope and the specific services needed. Pro tip. Every firm should be given the chance to visit the site. For complex projects, a pre-proposal conference is held so everyone has the same information. Step 5. The proposal and interview. The engineer now submits their detailed plan. How will you manage the project? Who is the staff? What is your schedule? This is followed by a face-to-face interview. Step 6. The fact check. The client doesn't just take your word for it. They check with your recent clients to verify your performance. Step 7. The ranking. Finally, the committee lists the engineers in order of preference 1, 2, and 3. This is where the rules of professional practice become very strict. Pay attention. Step 8. The invitation. The number 1 ranked firm is invited to develop a detailed, joint scope of work. Step 9. The compensation. Now and only now do we talk about the fee. The engineer proposes their compensation based on the detailed scope. Step 10. The breakup rule. If the client and the number one firm cannot agree on a fair price, the client must formally terminate the negotiation in writing. Example: the client cannot say, "Wait here, firm number one. Let me see if firm number two is cheaper." No, you must officially end the relationship with number one before you are allowed to open the door for number two. Step 11. The final contract. Once an agreement on scope, schedule, and compensation is reached, a written contract is signed. You are officially the project engineer. If you remember nothing else about QBS, remember these three things. It's about qualifications, not the lowest bid. The shortlist is usually 3 firms, negotiation is 1 at a time. You finish with the first before moving to the second. Now, let's look at Section 5.4, Level of Effort Contracts. Sometimes the traditional bidding process we just discussed is completely unsuitable. Why? Because sometimes the client doesn't know exactly what the final product looks like yet. Imagine you are hired to conduct a year-long geotechnical study of the soil stability in a landslide-prone area in Tiwi, Al Bay. You can't bid a fixed price for a result you haven't discovered yet. In these cases, the engineer opts for a level of effort contract. So, how is the engineer selected? First, the client furnishes all necessary data, the objectives, the constraints, and the expected time frame. Then, instead of bidding on the total project cost, the negotiation proceeds almost exactly like the final steps of the QBS system, steps 9 through 11. The key difference: you aren't negotiating for a finished bridge, you are negotiating based on the personnel, who are the specialists involved. The man-hours: how much time will these experts dedicate to the task? The hourly, monthly rates: what is the value of that specific expertise? Here's a practical example for you. Let's say the University of Nueva Cáceres wants a consultant to oversee a 3-year campus modernization master plan. The consultant isn't the one pouring the concrete, they are the ones managing the strategy. The level of effort here is the consultant's constant presence and guidance. The client selects the engineer they trust the most and negotiates a fee based on the effort required to keep that project on track. It's about buying reliable oversight and specialized knowledge. Finally, we reach Section 5.5, the 2-envelope system. As the name suggests, the civil engineer is required to submit to separate, sealed envelopes for a project. Think of this like a blind audition for a talent show. The judges need to see if you can actually play the instrument before they decide how much they are willing to pay for the concert ticket. In our world, this ensures that technical competence is the primary driver of the selection, not just the bottom line. Here is how the process unfolds. First, the submission. You submit both envelopes at the same time. Second, opening the technical envelope one. The client opens the first envelope. This scene contains your firm's experience, your proposed methodology, and the CVS of your engineers. Third, the evaluation. The client reviews all technical proposals and ranks them. They are looking for who is best suited for the purpose of the project. Lastly, opening the price envelope 2. Only after the client has selected the best technical proposal do they open the second envelope, the price. Example: imagine 3 firms bidding for a new bridge project in Naga City. Firm A has a brilliant, innovative design but is the most expensive. Firm B has a standard design. Firm C is very cheap but has never built a bridge before. Under this system, Firm C's price won't even be looked at if their technical score is too low. One of the most important professional protections in the system is what happens to the losers. The second envelopes, the price proposals of the firms that were not chosen, are returned to them unopened. Why is this important? It protects your proprietary pricing. If the client saw your price but didn't hire you, they might use your numbers to squeeze a lower price out of the winning firm. Returning them unopened maintains the integrity of the profession and ensures a fair playing field for everyone involved. And that wraps up our deep dive into Chapter 5, the selection of the civil engineer. From the strict 11 steps of QBS to the strategic blind audition of the two-envelope system, you can see that our profession is built on a foundation of merit. As future engineers from UNC, your goal isn't just to be the one who offers the lowest price, it's to be the one whose reputation, expertise, and integrity make you the obvious choice for any client. Remember, these aren't just rules for a board exam. They are the standards that protect our industry and ensure the safety of the public we serve. Study these steps, master your craft, and always build with excellence. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to review your PICE Manual of Practice for the full text. If you have questions about how these procedures apply to local projects here in Bickle, drop a comment below or reach out in our next class. Stay curious, stay professional, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Class dismissed.